Is your team ready to soar to new heights? At CTL Africa Leadership, we specialize in transforming potential into performance. Whether it's mastering winning with people, enhancing emotional intelligence, decoding human behavior, or strengthening team leadership, we've got you covered. Dive into personal leadership and elevate your corporate governance standards. Our tailor-made programs are designed to unlock your team's full potential. Don't settle for ordinary. Be extraordinary. Book a discovery call with CTL Africa today, and let's design a development program that transforms your team. Visit our website www.ctlafricaleadership.com.
Hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Leadership Platform. My name is Samuel Yim, and I am with CTL Africa Leadership. As you know, this is our best time of the week at CTL Africa Leadership. My internet is not too great, but I believe that we have a great discussion coming up. And so you're going to stay tuned with us. Please invite your friends to join the platform right now. Call your bosses, call your team members, and let them join, because we have a very interesting segment today. Please, when you join, introduce yourself and let's know where you are joining from. We know that so many of you join and you are not able to introduce yourself, or you prefer to hide, but we want to announce you to the whole wide world, so please join. Now, as we get to the end of the year, we encourage that you consider your growth in the years ahead, and as you are planning, we want to encourage you to think of some of the courses that we have been offering at CTL Africa Leadership. We have the Laws of Leadership going on. We want to encourage you. We have the Growth Journey, which is running now. Please register so that you can get onto it. Put your plans ahead of time for Live to Lead 2025. It's going to be great. We'll give you announcements later on. We will launch our Put Your Dream to the Test to help you prepare and position yourself for the year, and many, many more. So be with us, and next week, Leaders Are Readers version, where we are discussing the richer. Please, all the news from CTL Africa on our YouTube. Like our pages right away. Share the link to other people and let them join, because we have a great story to share. All right. So we're going to speak to a young man. As you all know, the youth population in Africa is huge. Millions and millions of young people are the assets of this continent. The future of the world is strongly hinged on the youth population we have internet. My internet is giving me some bad signals, but if you're hearing me, what I was saying is that everybody is looking to Africa for growth and for the future of the world. And part of that story is the youth population. We have a huge number of young people. Unfortunately, we are not doing very well with these young people. So this evening, we want to discuss with a young man whose life illustrates the pain that millions of African youth are going through right now, but whose life also illustrates the resilience that is in the African, and whose life also illustrates the possibilities that are available to every young man in any part of Africa. And so we are going to bring Gideon onto the leadership platform, and we're going to have a discussion with him. He's going to share his story, he's going to share his life with us. And so sit back, and as we go along, we would encourage you to write any questions, any suggestions, any learnings you are picking from his life, and we will come back to you to share them. You can put them in the chat and we'll read them to the whole wide world. All right, so we have with us at the moment, we have Portia Amonu from Tema Community 25, and he says, thank you, Sam and team. We have our friend Olivia Okine joining from Ghana. We have Richard Frank Asian, who is also a youth minister, doing a lot of work among the youth, joining us from the University of Cape Coast. We have, is it Corey Glendale Robbins from the USA, who is also joining us. Blesteta Oja is here. He says, I can't wait to hear this amazing story. And we have Parker Humphrey, interesting young man. All right. So without further ado, I invite Gideon to the leadership platform.
GPS signal lost.
Wonderful. So, Gideon,
stay you.
Welcome to the leadership platform.
Thank you very much.
We are excited to have you.
So am I.
Right. So we'll zoom right into it.
Yeah.
Tell us your full name and tell us who Gideon is.
My full name is Gideon Degbe. Let me just say Gideon Degbe, but most people say Gideon Degbe. Just those who are not Evers. I am an Ever, so when I'm mentioning it, I have to mention it with the Ever tonation. So Degbe, but those who
It
cannot
has to be
mention
the
it,
proper one.
yeah, so those who cannot mention it the way we do usually say Digby, Digby. So that's also allowed. Yeah. I was born in Karachi, in a town called Sufoline. I'd say my early ages, or I'll say my baby years, was lived on Lake Volta at Karachi in the small town I just mentioned, Sufoline. I was born to Christian Mensa Degbe and Enyonam Gladys Befu. She's late. She's a very good woman and a very strong woman. It's unfortunate that she has not lived to see the man that I've become. Um, it's my baby years. I'll use baby years. Most people say early years, but I prefer to use baby years because I have chapters in my childhood. So yeah, I use baby years. My baby years were not smooth. When I say baby years, between ages 4 to 7 and 13 even, they were not smooth. Living life on Lake Vuta, um, So let me start this way. So my father was a farmer, and my mom was the one that prepares all the farm produce. So my father goes to farm at the time. My father would go to farm. He had a cassava farm, he had a corn farm. He grew pepper and all the food stuff we can get in our house. He also had a yeah. He also had a sugarcane plantation. Not very large, but it was a good size, and that was what he was doing. And then it got to a point where he became very sick, and he had to travel for to
Before
get
before you go to
yeah.
before you go to that before you go to daddy's story, um, how many were you? How many siblings? We know that in Africa, born of 15 children. They say, wow, 15 children.
Yeah.
Yes, because
Oh, well, so directly my yeah.
so tell us a bit about the family structure.
Okay, so we are six in the family. There are five males and one female. I am the fourth, the fifth of the six, and then the fourth of the five boys. Yeah, and my elder sister, whom I got to know, the only lady amongst us, I got to know about her in 2015. That was when I first visited the village after I was rescued from Lake Volta. So we are six children to my parents. That's direct, family. But I have extended, step siblings. I think we should be get from my mother's side. There are about 5 to 7 of them, and for my father's side, step siblings, there are about four or so. Yeah, so there should be we should be counting close to 20 or a little over 20. Yeah.
Wow. And so you talk about your father's side and your mother's side.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Is it that the father has more wives, or the father had more
So
wives, or there was a separation, and then, or your mother has more husbands? How did it go?
yeah, so my there was a separation actually. There was a separation. My father was sick. He traveled to get medication and get healed and cured of his sicknesses. And then when he got back, my mother said he didn't trust him again. There were issues of mistrust in the marriage, and she left. And so both of them years later, got married to different people, and give birth to the step siblings that I have now. Yeah.
Good. All right. So I hope you can hear me. My internet is not doing very good, but I hope you can hear me. Tell us
Yes, I
also
can hear you.
briefly. You said you were born in Karachi in
Yes.
the early days. Can you describe for us Karachi? Is it a big town? Is it a village? What is the what's the social environment? What's the setup of the city or the town, the village like in Karachi?
Karachi is big. Karachi is big. Karachi West. Karachi West is big. There are towns and there are villages. Just like let's say we pick Accra, there's a city and there are slum areas and there are some places nobody would want to go. Yeah, Karachi is like that. There's a place where everybody would want to be, but there are the villages where we were staying. They were close. I mean, the coastal areas. That's where we were. The towns. We travel. We have to travel to the town. It's either you walk or you use the canoe. So it's quite a distance. In the town, there's a hospital. There's one hospital. there's the police station, and the bank. There's one bank I know in the area there, which is the rural bank. That is the functioning bank. I'm not sure that there are any developments of any new banks in the area yet, though. But I know that there used to be one bank, that is the rural bank, and they have a police station and all of that. So I think I would say I wouldn't say it's a completely urban, but it's kind of developing. I'd say it's a developing town or city. A town, yeah. I can put it that way. But we are the coastals. We don't have lights. We don't have any kind of those social amenities, say clinics or hospitals or schools or all these things. You have to travel to have access to those social amenities. Yes. So the coastals, there's a different lifestyle, and there's a different lifestyle with those living in the town itself.
Wow. So when you were born and you started growing, how was the house like? What kind of house were you living in? You were saying daddy was mostly gone and later there was separation. But when you
Well,
started seeing things and started talking, what can you remember from your baby?
Well, in the villages, there were just thatched houses or mud houses. We build with sand. So you erect it, you gather the sand, and you build is it mortar or something like that out of the sand. So you go and dig the sand and you mix it. You don't add any cement, you don't add anything concrete. It's just the sand. Yeah, and then you put it together and you build, and then put the touch on top of it. Those leaves they use. Yeah, the touch. I think I'm mentioning it right. So that's what we use, and in a
Palm
room there could
leaves.
be. Yes. So in a room
Yeah.
there could be about 15 to 20 people who are supposed to be in a room. So because of that, you don't see people living in a room. You only get your parents sleeping in a room, and the rest of the people have to, sleep outside. We lay a very big, when we see these ships, those cloths and materials they use that assist the boat to sail well. I'm not sure how to call that, but those are the things we lay on the floor. And then you see about 20, 15, 30 people lying on it. It's very big. So because we cannot fit in the room, we all have to try to sleep outside. Yes. So um, although there are houses that we built, you sleep outside, and of course we don't even have the time to sleep because you'll be working almost 18 to 20 hours. When I say, people think it's not possible, but you work almost 18 to 20 hours and you be on the lake, and so there's really no time for sleep
No,
and
but
all
but,
of
but,
that.
but
So we
take
don't
your
really
time.
care about that.
Here you
Yeah.
take your time. Here you were a child. So
Yeah.
when you were a child, I mean, at what age will you be starting to work? I mean, lead us a bit into how do you start to work? At what age do you start to work?
Working on the lake really doesn't have an age. It all depends on how early you are able to walk. Once you can move your steps, you know that you're a potential fisher boy. Once you can move your legs and once you can talk, there's no age requirement. It's all about being able to walk. Once you can walk, you are qualified to be on the lake. So
Okay.
those days, nobody
So
would
what do you
wait
remember? At
long.
what age? Okay, so what will you remember? At
GPS
what
signal
age
lost.
do you remember you started working? And by the way, what about school for children and so on in that whole village? How was it like?
I would say personally, I could not remember vividly, but I know that I used to work with my father in the farm because he initially started with the farm. For me, fishing, I started with my elder brother. So working with my father, I think should be between ages 4. Yeah, between ages 4 and 5. So that's ages 4, 5 to 7 there. But I cannot remember the exact, but it should be between that period. And you don't have any, there's no, no mindset or perception of let's put our child into school. It's all about how, it's all about the family. We have given birth, and everyone even survives on their own. Actually, once you're able to walk, you start surviving on your own. So for school, it's not really anything that is talked about, or it's thought about, or intentionally, anything intentionally, pushed. If anybody wants to take their children to school, we have masters. Mostly in our coastal areas, there are lots of masters than people living with their families. So those masters, they have their children. If their children are living with them, they don't do all the stuff. But if they are not living with them, you know that they are staying with a relative somewhere going to school. But in the villages itself, there's no school life there. It's just the fishing and the farming. There's few of farming, but more of fishing on the lake. And so there's usually no mention of schools. It's just the fishing. So everyone just wants to, go through the cycle of, becoming, after becoming a master, or serving a master, becoming a master, and also, having people to work for you. That's just been the cycle, and that's just been the mentality and everything that people live by in the village. So there's really
Okay,
nothing
so
about school.
talk to us about talk to us about this business of becoming a culture and so on, and how you got involved. I mean, now you're growing up 4 or 5 years. You're working with your father. Then you say you work with your brother.
Yeah.
So how did it evolve from there? Where were your other siblings? What were they doing? And how did you get involved into this business? Tell us a bit about this business and the description of how it works and how you got involved.
Right. So, like I said, in the villages, in the coastal areas, it's more of a master-servant, relationship there. There's little of, family relationship. So, you enter every canoe and you are seeing a master and a slave, or someone he's working with. And most of these people are bought, or the master goes to his family member and says that I want your child to come and help me. I'll take them to school, and they do that. Some also sell, when there's economic hardship, they sell the children to their either siblings or their cousins, or masters. So there's really no family, relationship, but masters. In my case, it was different. My father was a farmer initially, and then he became sick. Initially, I was with him. I'll follow him to farm. I'll follow him to do all the basic farm activities and all of that. Even when he became sick, he had to travel to get healed and all of that. By the time he got back, my mom no longer trusted him because she heard news that my father had gone to, had, external relationships, and she wasn't happy about. So she decided to, walk away from the marriage with my father, and she left myself and my younger brother. Then my other siblings, um, I didn't know my sister at the time. So because I really did not grow up seeing her around the house. It's just myself and my parents until later on. I met my elder brother, Ben. He's the oldest, and Peter, who is also after Ben. Godson, occasionally he used to come around. Now, these people were not with us. They were all staying with other people and working for them. They were all staying with other people and working for them. And then occasionally they just, show up. And I didn't really know them very much. So when my mom left, I was just left with my younger sibling, Geshin. He's currently doing his national service at University of Ghana, where he completed school. Um, so
Wow.
yes, yes, it's God, it's God's doing. My dad, when my mom left, he didn't know how to take care of us, so he had to bring in my immediate older brother, Pete's cousin. Remember, we are five boys with one female. So the other two guys were all working with their master, and Godson, my father brought him in to help him take care of us. But he was also young at the time. He was not staying home. He wasn't able to, take care of us. So my father, not knowing what to do, asked us to, go back to my mother.
But how old were
Um, for the age, it should be so. That was a period where the fishing came in. So that should be around 6, 7. That should be between 6 and 7 years at the time. And my older brother, my immediate older brother, he came in and he took us to my mom. I remember one morning we had to walk. We had to walk very early morning, should be around 5 or 6. We walked to where my mother is. It's actually not a walking distance, but we had to walk because we do not have the means to transportation. We walked from my village through Krachi to where my mother is. And it took us almost the whole day because we got there around 4 or 5 thereabout because it was sunset. It was sunset. And my mom, when she saw us, was so furious, so angry, and so mad at my immediate older brother for bringing us to the house. Apparently, when she left, she had already settled and had started, a family. So she had a husband and didn't want us in the house. So she wanted to send us back that very same day, that same time we got there. But for the intervention of some elderly people in the house and around the place, we could have walked back. So they advised her that it is not right for her to send us back, but she should give us food to eat, give us a place to sleep, and then when it's morning, she can send us back. So we ate, and by dawn, it should be around 3, 4 a.m. She already got taxi for us, and then by 5, 6 a.m. we're back to my father's house. She didn't want to see us.
wow.
Yes, she didn't want to see us. She didn't want to have anything to do with us. And one week after we stayed with our father, my immediate older brother, he wouldn't even stay home. He's always, moving up and down. You wouldn't even see him around. One morning, we all woke up and never knew where our father went. That was just a week after our mother returned us to him. So we were actually parentless. We had no family. We had no one to take care of us. And so the
Wow.
neighbors in the area had to call my older brother, let him understand the situation. Even him, he thought it wasn't that serious until um, the second oldest, Ben, the second older, Peter, who is after Ben, he was sick, and Ben needed to raise some money to take care of his hospital bills. That was when he came home and realized that everything was true, and that was how the fishing started. So mine wasn't a master, or I wasn't
When you
bought.
say was true, what did you find out? What happened to your father?
Well, nobody knew. My father left and he left. It was just like um, hearing the news that someone has lost or someone was lost or you can't find someone. It was just like that. Like he just vanished like that. Nobody knew where he was. Nobody heard of him. Nothing. Like nobody could really, get in touch with him. He just vanished
Up to
from the
today,
community.
or he later
No,
came back? Up to
yeah,
today,
he later got in
up to
touch.
today,
That
or he
was
later came back?
he got in touch. He got in touch with the person who rescued me. I think in 2009. In 2009, that he was in the choir and that he wanted to get in touch with his children. At the time, we really didn't want to see him because nobody understands why any father will abandon
A
his
lot had
children,
happened.
like that. Yeah, so we didn't want to. And then our guardians at the time didn't want us to have that relationship with them until we are okay. But while we're in that period, they were actually, preparing our mind to, forgive and to also let us understand that, life is not all about, vengeance and all of that. Things happen, circumstances happen. God allows certain things to happen, to allow His grace to be fulfilled in our lives. So we grew up actually forgetting about
Amen.
the pain we went through, but rather, developing interest in changing the status quo in the families. Yes. So my brother,
Absolutely.
when my dad left,
So when he disappeared,
yeah. So when he disappeared, my brother came into the picture. That was where fishing started because he had to raise funds to take care of um, my other brother who was sick. And he said, actually, he mentioned that it was going to be for a short period of time when our brother gets well. But that wasn't the case. It actually doubled. We would go fishing because on the lake, there are different types of fishing activities. And with the different types, there are different depths that you go when you are fishing. So we have the shore side, we have the deep side, and then in between. And everyone had their areas. But we were doing all three because of how much he needed the money to take care of our brother who was not well. And we were not just fishing; we were doing other things. Uh, People, it wasn't hook and line, but we were doing a lot more than just the net work. So we would go fishing in the morning. We would have to go and cast the net. And while we go and cast the net, we know that you are going to also get to another area that you are going to, fish. And there are times where you can be on the lake all day because as you fish, you are also, casting the net. So it's a multitasking thing that we've been doing. It got to a time where we were not just fishing, we were also, cutting and selling firewood. So we would paddle across the lake, go to a different island, and we'll climb mountains and cut down trees, cut them into logs, carry them. It used to be here and I until my younger brother, Geshen, whom I said is at University of Ghana currently, uh, he he wasn't he was very young. He was very, very young. So he wasn't always coming. Days that he would come, he would just come and help with some basic work. But he wasn't with us all the time. So this is just he and I, between he
so
and
at
I.
this point, at this point with all this, at this point with all this, is it that your brother, your senior brother, pastor, is
Say again, I didn't get that. I think the network was breaking. So
okay? So what I was asking was, with your brother's work, were you working for somebody, or your brother now was a master of his own, and
Yes. So when he got back, he now
and he's running
became.
the business like a business, a family business?
Yes. So it was his business that I would say it's more like a family business. I wouldn't want to call it a family business because it was just his that he was running. Initially, the idea was to use it. The idea was to use it was to work and use it to raise funds to to pay bills for my brother who was sick. But after we finished paying, everything became intensified. Like he saw money, he saw that he could make money on his own as a master because at his age, usually, at his age, they leave their masters to also get established. But his came earlier because of a responsibility that my father left behind. So he just took advantage of it. When he saw money, it changed the whole family mentality. So it became more like a master slave relationship instead of a brother relationship. And we will work maybe sometimes 3 times the work people have been doing, sometimes 4 times. We'll go in the night. Sometimes you come back in the morning. You have only 3 hours to rest. Sometimes you don't even rest. You just because you come and you go on fishing. There are 3 different types of nets for the 3 levels of depths that you go and do the fishing. You come back and you have to prepare all those nets again. And they will not go and ask anybody to help. Usually they don't help. Theirs is to come back, sell the fish, and go and meet with their customers, discuss possible partnerships, and how to get loans to get more nets and improve the work they are doing. Some of them use this machine, so it's either we are getting more canoe or we are buying a machine to use for the fishing to make the work faster. So it's always about how much we have, how much we can make to get more money. It's never about you, the slave, or the person who is doing the work. Your sweat is really not of any relevance to anybody. So yeah, we were doing more, and because he liked money and he has seen money and he liked it, we were doing more. Unfortunately for me, there was a time where he had saved a lot of money and he had a girlfriend at the time. He had saved a lot of money and he was saving it with this his girlfriend that he wanted to marry. And one day we went fishing and came back, and this lady was nowhere to be found. None of his friends were able to tell him where the lady went, and he never heard from this lady. And that became my burden to carry. That became my cross to carry. So unless I don't cough or unless I don't blink, there's beating every now and then. Everything, every little thing I do, there's beating that comes
Your
alongside
own
it.
brother?
Yes, my own brother. He would beat me with the paddle. Anything he gets hold of it. The ropes we use for fishing, they are thick. Some, if you combine your 2 fingers, that's how thick some can be, and some are like this. Those ropes that we use as our dry lines. Some are doubled, some we triple them just to make sure that when we are using it doesn't get torn. So they are all in the boat. So these things are used to beat us, all the time, and there's no escape. As I remember one time,
But what did you do? What did you do with his girlfriend? You had nothing to do with his girlfriend disappearing.
well,
So why
I,
would
I,
he
I
be
don't know.
beating you?
Well, even myself, the lady when she came, it was just all about my brother. We really never had anything to do with her. She would just cook, and it's all about my brother and her and all of that. We were just not anything to her. So I had no idea why the anger has to, transfer to me. And yeah, it was just
to
crazy.
you.
So it's just about
Okay, so how
I
long did
hook
you
up.
work on with him on this boat?
Yeah, so I think between ages 6 and 7,
How long
I
did
can
you
say
work?
that's
And then tell us, because of the time, let's lead us a
yeah.
bit into how the rescue was done, and then how long you worked, and under what circumstances were you then? How old were you when you were rescued, and so on?
Yeah, so I think I was around 13 when I was rescued. I worked with him. It was between 6 and 7. I think 6, 7 years. I worked with him for about 6, 7 years before I was rescued. I was rescued in 2008 by Mr. Chibra first. Mr. Chibra is the person who does the rescue. He contacts the people that the sponsors identify that okay, we want to help people. We want to help children who are suffering, who are under distress on Lake Volta. So they reach him, and he directs them. He actually most of the time he goes to the fishing communities and speaks to these masters and does the rescue, and then brings them to the rescuers. So for me, there were times I had an encounter with Mr. Chiba because in my village there were a group of people who were also in my situation, who were rescued, and I heard stories of how well they were doing. So I wanted to also live. I remember I escaped before, and the person that I went to brought me back to my brother, and that also worsened my living conditions with him. So one day I was sent to Kratchi town to get some, items, and I met Mr. Chibra, and I told him that I wanted to leave. So later, some years later, I think he met with my brother and told him that he'll be coming to rescue me, and so he shouldn't take me fishing. The morning that he was told not to take myself and my younger brother fishing, that morning we woke up very early, very, very early than the usual. Um, and then he was going. Unfortunately for him, unfortunately for me, Mr. Chibra was already waiting for us. So the moment we stepped out, Mr. Chibra said, Gideon, you are not going. Today, I'm taking you out of this situation. So we had to follow him. And that was the first day I tasted good food. Because usually it's about sometimes no food or gari and sugar. But that day, I ate jollof, like proper food. You eat and you feel like you've eaten. That was my first time ever eating any good food.
Wow. Did
Um,
he
yeah, I think your network is breaking. I cannot hear you well.
take you and your brother, or he took?
Okay, I think we're
Yeah,
having some
My internet
challenges.
is misbehaving, so I'm bringing Sarah so that
All right.
Sarah can continue when
Yes.
yeah,
I'm
Yeah. Thank you, Sam.
around. So
Okay.
let's continue this discussion, the story.
yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah, I heard you ask if he rescued myself alone or just myself and my brother. So he rescued. I think he rescued
Yes.
my younger brother first before me, because in the villages nobody cares where anyone is. We are just scattered around, and we also go for fishing. We come back very late, and then we go very, very early. So I didn't care about that day. He didn't go fishing, so they came for him earlier. But that night, he was told not to take me away, but he was still taking me away. That's what they do. If there's an intervention for someone to be rescued, they try to take the person in circles in order for the person not to be rescued. And that's what he tried to do. But Mr. Chibra, being an expert in what he does and knowing how they behave, was already there just to make sure that I wasn't taken away. So that morning I went with Mr. Chibra. Yes, so that's how the rescue happened. And I think the first day, the morning I went, I was in, I think I was in a blue top. I was in a blue top, blue shorts, just the blue shorts. There was no top, and that was how I was rescued. I got there, took a good bath. They gave me sponge. I took a good bath, and I had food to eat in the morning. In the evening, we had dinner with the one who rescued us. My first was City of Refuge. Jumbu was the first person that I met when you first rescued me. When George first rescued me, I first met Jumbu of City of Refuge Ministries, and then later in 2009, I was with Touch Alive. And then later, I spent a year at Village of Hope before, Touch a Life again and all of that. So that's about the rescue. Yeah.
Okay, so Gideon, tell us a little bit about the rescue. How old were you when you were rescued, right? And how long did you spend in these three rescue centers? How old were you?
Yeah. So I was 13. I was 13 when I was first rescued. It was I remember it was a Thursday. I remember it was a Thursday because we spent a day at Mr. Achibe's house. That was the day after the rescue. And then the following day, we made a journey to Tema, I think Tema Community 5 at
Okay.
City of Refuge. And then the following day was church service. That was a Sunday. So that's how I got to know. And it was in October. But as to the actual date, I cannot tell. But I know it was on a Thursday and it was in October. And I didn't stay long at City of Refuge because in 2009, that was somewhere 2008. In 2009, I was with Touch Alive in a different, different environment. And then we stayed there for about from 2009 to 2010. 2010, we moved to Village of Hope, and we were there, myself and the other rescued children were at Village of Hope. So we came to be with the Village of Hope children for a year, so from 2010 to 2011. 2011, Touch Alive moved us to Teshi, and yeah, there was a place called Camp 2. We were there, and then we went to school at Lekma. We were in school, yes, and I was, yeah. So we were in school at Lekma for a year. So that Teshi, the space, the duration that we lived at Teshi was 1 year. So from 2011 to 2012. In 2012, we moved to Touch Alive, was set up its own center, care center in Kumasi, where they took us all there. And then that's where I completed my basic education. That's my junior high school and all of that. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for that. So,
Yes.
But how did you
13
start school? At what class?
yeah.
At what class did you start school? You were 13 years.
So I started. When I tell people don't really believe. So my first day at school. So before we enter school, we were prepped. We've not been to classroom before, so we were prepped. Our guardian at the time, Kofi, was Mr. Chibe's son, and he was, prepping us. He will give us the basics of, the how to, combine the words and read the A's and the they and the we and all of that. When we first took us to school, he took us to the principal's office and we had to do a reading test. So they knew our story and they didn't want to stress us. They, however, wanted to put us in class and then focus on us rather than, taking us through all the processes again. So he wanted to see the basics and then put you in a class that you can fit and then he would assign teachers to, make sure that you're able to cope with the class. So he first gave me a book to read. If I was able to read that book, I'd be in class 6. I could not read anything in that book. Then he asked me to pronounce the word. There, I couldn't pronounce it. So he brought me to class 5, gave me a book. He said, if you read, you'll be in class 5. I couldn't read anything. He said, okay, he moved to class 4. I couldn't. Then he said, you know what? I'll put you in class 2. And I'm sure that you do well. So I started in class 2. And thankfully enough, I had a woman teacher. Women are very patient and they understand situations that men they really, kind of overlook. So she had time for me, and she would make sure that things that I'm not able to understand, I would understand. So when it comes to maths, she assigned the best student in maths to be helping me in my maths class. And for reading, she tried to help me with dictation. And she wouldn't joke with my writing. This is my second copy book. So that handwriting book, my second copy, I think that's the name. And I would write and make sure that I trace every letter to match exact thing in the book. And she will mark. If I did well, she'll give me calico. If I didn't do well, she asked me to go and do it again. It's the same thing she did with the reading. For the reading, the whole class will read in class. There will be a dictation. I remember the thing that made me learn how to read was the months of the year. So January, February to December. There's this story we read, and it was all listed in there, and she used that as dictation. And so, if you pass, you will get a calico. And then in the school, people used to celebrate their birthdays, and then the calicos and all the biscuits that will be left will be kept in the cupboard, and they will be given to performing students. So anytime I do well, I get a calico and a biscuit. If I don't do well, she encourages me to do it again. So that particular book, that text we read, there was dictation on it twice, just so I can get it. So I took time reading it and reading it and reading it, and before I could know, I was
So you
well.
can
So
get
that day, the second dictation, when I finished, when I was able, I think I got 9 out of 10. She made a class clap for me, and she gave me 2 calipos and 2 biscuits and said I have done well.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Well,
that's how I learned how to read, and yeah, started from, so 13 years in class 2. Yeah.
wow. Okay. So let's move fast forward. Now you have done your education, right?
Yes.
You have done education, you have gotten into the system, you have your JSS, is that what you call it? JSS?
Yes. You just said the
Okay.
necessary.
And then you move into the senior.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that phase of your life.
Well, so I've been someone that so when I was with Jumbo, that City of Refuge some years back, I was at the time the oldest, and so anything will come back to me. So the objective is, since everything is coming back to me, if something happens, even in my absence, even something that I don't know about, the house parent at the time will come to me asking questions why these things happen, and that I am to blame. I should have, supervised and make sure that it didn't happen. So by default, I had to take responsibility for things I don't even know anything about. Yes, I had to take responsibility for things I don't even know anything about. And no matter how I say I don't know anything about it or I wasn't there, it will still have to come back to me as to why I didn't prevent it from happening. So I became, I was always on the lookout to make sure that at one point I had to complain to Jumbo and tell him that I don't know why this is happening, but even when the thing is not my fault, everyone says it's me, and I'm not happy about it. And he says that um, because I am by default chosen as the leader of the group, and so every leader takes responsibility. I remember that very well, and I feel that's where it all began. The passion to always, do things in a way that will not make other people put me in trouble. So you always try to look out for others. You always try to make sure that nobody, goes the mile that will bring trouble to you. So although I wasn't able to do it well because we from the lake, we don't hear, we don't listen to anybody. It's just our own way, right? So
Okay.
it's just being the thing. So true to like you asked, from junior high school. Junior high school, I was the senior boys prefect just because of this trait that I learned from this beginning. And senior high school, I became the senior boys prefect as well as the SRC president in my senior high school. And then the university at Heritage Christian University, I became SRC president.
Okay.
Yes, and then now here I am. So I have through this period tried to be in a position where I can be someone who impacts other people and also be an example to others. I know people say that not all leaders like to lead from the front. Yes, there are times that I like to be behind the scenes, and there are times that I feel like, hey, I think I want to also lead from the front. Yes, so there I combine all these things together. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So now, tell us a little bit about where you are now. I believe you have gotten your master's, right? Is that correct?
Yes, yes, yes,
And
yes,
today I
yes.
hear you
Yeah.
defended your thesis
Yes,
for your
yes.
master's. So we just want to congratulate you today and say well done.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, yes.
So being in this, yes, being in this leadership position or by default, you became a leader. You saw how the teachers or the rescuers in your life were also mentors to you,
Yeah.
right? How they even gave you recognition when you did very well. How have you integrated this into your leadership, raising other younger leaders? Because now you are in the SRC, you are in so many leadership positions. Are you living those out, those values?
Yes, so from the beginning, it's always been take responsibility,
Yeah.
and you don't have to wait for someone to tell you to do A or B. You have to
Mhm.
take responsibility for every single action. So there are times that in a group, myself and my colleagues, we could decide on a thing or two, and when it comes to decision making or when it comes to reporting a need, you are the only one who has gone to complain or you are the only one who has gone to ask. And when it's hit back on your face, you are the only person there. You don't see, anyone else. So you have to stand. So, all these things, train me and, put me up to, take up even bigger challenges. So, um, although my parents and guardians have been very instrumental, I think this experience with my own colleagues have also been very, very, very helpful in
Mhm.
strengthening me and also, giving me some kind of mentality about life itself and also, standing out even to let me even understand that even when you all agree on one thing, there's going to be a time where you are just going to be left alone to answer to even other people's decisions. So you face consequences that other people are supposed to even face sometimes. So yeah, um, I've always loved to be in the youth space. Youth are not given opportunity to you know to showcase what they have. And for some time now, I have been trying to campaign on that very well so that certain kind of focus can be given to the youth. Um, just this morning, before I went for my graduation, I posted on my WhatsApp status that Ghana used to be a country that every African country looks at, but today the youth, the youth that we are nurturing today are not even having a space in our own country. So it's been a lot of um, challenge for most of the youth, but I've also decided to take it as a responsibility that I will champion a cause for the youth, for youth development and youth advocacy, and also find ways and means to protect that youth have some kind of power with good training from leaders, good leaders, because there are leaders who see potential in certain youth, but do not give them the chance. You can present your ideas. You can, project, no matter what you do, you can present it and they will still, in front of you, they will nod and say it's okay. But when it's time for them to give you the chance to exhibit what you have, you are asking or you have presented or proposed, they are not ready to give you that platform, that space. So that's basically what I've been campaigning and championing this past few years. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I guess we'll just take a short commercial break, take some water, and then we'll see what you have for us in the future, the
Thank you.
strategies
Thank you
that
so
you have in
much.
mind. Okay, so
Thank you.
Joy, take us away. Thank you.
I am winning on all fronts limitlessly.
I have made tremendous improvement at work through delegating and empowering teams.
We started with the law of intentionality, which specifically makes it clear that growth cannot just happen. You have to be intentional about your growth.
CTO Africa Leadership brings you the Grow Journey, a series of masterclasses based on John C. Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. In this 10-week virtual growth accelerator, you will acquire the skills to thrive and flourish as you evolve into a more impactful and fulfilled individual. You will master the art of personal and professional development as you craft and execute your customized growth plan. Limited seats available. Register now for the next cohort. Hey there. Join the next cohort of CTO Ghana's growth journey.
The next cohort is coming on. Get involved and your life will never be the same.
Well. That is a really great story. And Gideon, congratulations.
Thank
Having
you.
gone through all these things, I mean, there are so many details we would have loved to mine, but the time will not allow us. Quickly, a few comments coming through. Parker Humphrey says, interesting young man. And Evans Odum joining us from here. Olivia Okan say, wow, no age requirement, no swimming lesson given to start work in the voter lake. And Obi Menu from Accra is here. He said, we thank God for those who found you, man. And Conrad Kakraba says, glad to see my former student on this platform. I am always inspired by his
Good
story,
to know you are
full of
watching, Mr.
grace,
Rakama. Good to know you are
grace
watching.
and glory. Mami Ajua says, wow. And Blessed Tete says, this story is really touching. We thank God for the rescue. You will do exploits. And Olivia says, Daddy God Almighty, bless your class 2 teacher. Plenty, plenty, plenty. All
Amen.
right. And this is motivational, it's powerful. And motivation is a powerful tool. And Olivia says again, nice reward of calipo juice, boxes, and biscuits. Such encouraging steps to get you learning. And she says, congratulations. Esther Amankwa says, wow, a huge congratulations on successfully completing your thesis. And she says, well,
It's actually today was actually my graduation day, so I graduated and I have masters in
actually,
accounting.
he graduated today. And he's finished his master's, but
Yeah.
he's also doing his ACCA. Is that right?
ICA, Institute of Chartered Accountants.
Is the
Yes.
ICA, the Institute of
Yeah,
Chartered
I'm on level
Accountant,
two at the moment.
is on level 2. So at the
Yeah.
same time, he's gathering all the learning that he can get to be able to position himself. This is growth, personal leadership. And Mami Dokua says, well done. Well done, Gideon. Congratulations. Ivan Sodum says, what a touching life story. Please, where is your elder brother now? And those are some of the quick things you may want to. Where's your other brother? Where are your other brothers? Where's your sister? Where's your dad? And all that we would like to. So those are a few things we would like you to tie up. And also, now tell us some of the things you have done. I believe that you work also for Touch Alive. We're happy to have you as CTA. You are doing some great work for young people. We want you to share that also, and then some of the lessons you've learned about life that you want to share with young people. So because of time, if you can do those things quickly, that would be great.
Yeah. Sure. So, where my family are now, like I said earlier, my younger brother, that's the youngest of us, of the six, he completed University of Ghana and currently doing his service with the admissions office. My older brother is still on Lake Vuta. He's still working, still fishing. My two other brothers are both in Bekwai, where my father is currently living. So when my father left us, that was where he found himself. And he's now a herbalist. These days everyone is a herbalist. Those fetish priests and all those people, that's how they call themselves these days. So he's now a herbalist, and that's where he's staying now. And my brothers are both there. They are not they are not doing any formal work, but they're just doing some treats, and that's what they are up to now.
And
Personally,
your mom, where is your mom?
my mom is late. My mom is late.
Sorry.
Yes.
All right.
Personally, like you said, I've worked for Touch Alive while I was in the university. I've worked for Touch Alive for 3 years as an executive assistant to the program director. She was in charge of handling all the university students in the Touch Alive program and making sure that all their needs are met and all they're able to do financial planning. And I was assisting her with all of that. We assist the budgeting, make sure that meetings are coordinated, their needs are collated, and everything is forwarded to her. I worked with her on that for 3 years, formally for 3 years. And then I later on came back to work for Touch Alive as a development officer for a year. I've also worked as an account officer with Unique Flora for about 10 months. And now with CTL just a few months ago as the youth engagement lead, one of the areas that I've been championing, and I'm very happy working in the area of the youth. And personally, I have a project going on that I'm launching on the 30th of November. That's this month. That is the Youth Development Project Ghana, and it's basically it's focused on the marginalized communities and how to call on young people not to wait for our leaders to come and do things for them, because sometimes we can wait and wait and wait and you never get any developmental projects in our communities, or some basic things that we are suffering from in our communities are never solved. But it's just to say that, hey, we are youth and we have the power to make things happen. We need to empower ourselves and we need to pull up our hopes so that all these small things, let's take responsibility for it ourselves and let's work it out. So the youth development project is just to empower the young people in the marginalized communities to champion some basic social problems in the community, so that it doesn't have to be like you are waiting on the our leaders in the political space to come and help us. No, but then something we can do with ourselves. So that's what I've been doing now. And in the area of finance, I'm trying to explore opportunities to merge the finance with the youth programs, how this two can go hand in hand, so that, because I believe that there's a space, there's a gap that can be filled when it comes to youth and finance. And so I'm still trying to explore how to fill that gap. I'm still searching. I haven't come across anything yet, but I'm still searching on how to fill a gap that may exist like that. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And by the way, for those of you who he's very humble, and he's at CTL. He's leading our youth initiative we call Y3L, Young Leaders Learning Lab, and in fact, he's just launched our soft launch at the British Council earlier in the year, and we've started our pilot, which is driven. He's invited several young people, and since Tuesday, actually this afternoon, we're on the call. Whilst he was doing his graduation, he was still on the call helping to train young people. So this is somebody who is actually committed. I mean, the responsibilities. Now, just briefly, as you summarize this experience, what has it taught you? What are some of the core principles that this experience has taught you, and which you are taking on in life, which you would like to quickly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 share with your other young people who may not actually have gone through these difficult situations,
Yeah.
but who are still not sure of what to do with their lives?
I think first you need to believe in God and know that the God who brought you to this earth will not leave you just unprotected, uncared for.
Amen.
The Bible said that he who gives the birds food and protect them, he gives them everything that they want. How much more you, a human being who is his son or daughter? So I just want to let everyone understand that no matter your situation, no matter the level of hardship or difficulty, you cannot leave God out, because He is the one that take you there anywhere. He is the one, and that is the first. The second, I think that we should strive first and foremost to fulfill a part of our life that builds integrity. And integrity has some principles of ethics. It has honesty. It has accountability, and these are the things that drive me. For everywhere that I go, I make sure that I show myself to be this. I am not able to function in an environment that does not have integrity. I am never able to function. Um, it's either I am out or I find myself wanting. I'm not able to either give the result I want, or I have to go, because the moment I find myself in these environments, it kind of taunts me, and they don't allow me to give my best. So in most cases, when I find myself in an environment that does not have these values, I find myself wanting. I want to encourage everyone out there that first is put God, and also know that He'll take you wherever you want to go. And second, do not take integrity for granted, because in that you have the mentors and the employers and all those people looking out for that. When you're exceptional in that, they see some good qualities that not everybody has. And if you are honest, if you are, you hold your ethical, your ethics high, and you're very accountable for everything you do, I think that everybody would be open to share, even to some extent, some personal information that they would not share with other people. And you'll be able to excel in any aspect that you do. One thing that has also kept me moving, especially in the space of leadership, is the fact that I try to be impactful. Where I am not able to be impactful, I find myself that, I mean, it's either not mine or the people are not willing to allow me to impact. So I try to be impactful and to make myself relevant. And if I am not, it means that there's someone needs to fill that space. So I try to be impactful, and that has helped me. That's for the leadership is trying to be impactful. And there are certain key people that I look out for. In every aspect of my life, there are certain people there. When it comes to leadership, when it comes to finance, when it comes to youth development, when it comes to investment, there are different people in every aspect of my life. And I didn't mention that I like politics, but yes, I like politics, and I have people that I look up to, people that I listen to. When you take Nkrumah, when you take Barack Obama, there are people I listen to in the space of politics. And so everything that anyone out there, anything you want to do, just make sure that if it's investment you want to go into, make sure that you find someone who is excellent at it and try to read a little about them, try to follow one or two things that they've been doing. If it's leadership, try to find someone in that space. Just read about them and get to understand what they do. And I think that also surrounding yourself. There was one thing that I got to learn growing up. Is that surround yourself with people who know better than you, or people who have seen things you have not seen before. So most of the time, I try as much as I can to learn from the older people. I like observing people. So I could be watching an older person, just trying to learn the kind of things they do in the shortest possible time, just to pick up some values, and later I go to read about them. That's how I get to learn things from them. And yeah, so I just want to encourage everyone out there, don't forget God in everything. Just make sure that you keep God at the top. Second, integrity. And third, try to be impactful everywhere you go. Try to impact life everywhere you go. And then the third is try to find someone in the area that you want to go, and just try to read about them. Interestingly, in life, just as Solomon told us in Ecclesiastes, he said, there's nothing that has happened on this earth that has not happened before. Everything has happened before, which is to say that everything you are going through now has happened before in the lives of somebody you might be looking up to. And if they are where they are today, you know that you can also be where they are or even do better. So don't forget that and always keep moving. I'm sure that whilst we are still building ourselves, we'll get there, but also you can even do better. So dream big and just keep dreaming bigger. Aim for the moon, and if you don't get there, you even get to the stars. So just aim bigger, and keep aiming. So that's what I have for the youth listening to me and everyone who's listening to me and is getting inspired by my story.
Wonderful,
Beautiful.
wonderful, wonderful. Sarah, this is great story, a lot of lessons, a lot of encouragement, and we thank God for your life. And for me, I'm comforted by the fact that your first lesson is on God, because that is the foundation. That is where life emanates. And with God, there is nothing you cannot achieve. All things are possible. And then the next most important thing, integrity.
Integrity.
And and so even with all the things you are doing and you want to do, we are confident that this is going to lead you very well, and this is going to bring you to a place where you are going to be even more impactful. Because look at the trajectory from all that you've said since you were rescued just a few years ago. You've been able to go through this, have your first degree, have your master's degree in accounting and finance. You are doing your ICA project. You are managing different other projects. You have an eye on politics, which is great, because we need a lot of young people with integrity. And we hope that you will not allow the current politicians to corrupt your mindset, because what they are leaving for the young people is not good. The lessons we are seeing, so that you can go there and try to be the catalyst that will be able to change. And this is what we are encouraging all of our young people to do. You don't need to be called to lead. Take the responsibility to lead. You don't need a title to lead. Just lead and the title will come. You don't need a position to lead. Create the position and lead. So those are some of the things that, Sarah, I can pick from this very, very exciting story. We call it the bittersweet story of Gideon. And we are very happy for you. And we pray that God will keep you. Sarah, what do you say?
Yes, I'll say that in addition to what you say, for my greatest takeaway is the fact that he said, even when it comes to values, you have to have non-negotiable values, and that is where you will thrive. You will create that environment when you have non-negotiable values. So that's my biggest takeaway. What are my non-negotiable values that without which I cannot operate? And before we go, I'm just going to read something that Olivia has written for Gideon. Says, "Awesome God, God will surely guide you always, because though you missed Sunday school times in your baby years, I cannot read. Let me
As you
see.
term
As you
it,
term the early
as you term
growing
your
years,
early growing years,
you have quickly learned about our maker and creator, Ayoko. Ayoko.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
Yes.
you.
God bless you. And I saw somebody who is asking Gideon, where is the graduation party going to be? Is it going to be at CCL, so that we all head there for your graduation table? So let me stop here, and definitely you want to give your parting remarks if there is any.
yes, all right. So there's so many congratulations. Abedonko say congratulations, my good friend, very deep. Elizabeth Otu says, God bless you. You are doing great. And Anabak, is it Anabiok Benjamin says, I miss this day because of network. Don't worry, this will be recorded. And Philip Quay says, great initiative. All right. So, Gideon, your final words. We leave the stage to you to tell us, speak to the young people, speak to Ghana. And my president, Hector Hinekunu, says, with God, all things are possible. All right. So, your final words.
To my colleague youths out there, I'd like to just say that every day there are problems. There are problems every day. There are opportunities and there are no opportunities. But then always try and make sure that you are ready, and anytime the opportunity presents itself, you are there. Because if you're not prepared, you don't get the opportunity. So always get prepared. And leading doesn't have to be that you have someone has to call you or no. Take a responsibility and take control and start doing something for yourself. And I'm sure that the people around you will be impacted. And don't forget God in all you do. Don't forget God in all you do, because from beginning to end, He's the one that is going to make things happen. As my favorite verse that I have in Jeremiah chapter, I think 29, 11 or 9, 11, 29, says that God says He knows the plan He has for you, not a plans to hurt you or not plans to harm you, but plans, to give you a future. So no matter what you're going through, know that God has hands on you and will take you wherever you want to go. I would also like to invite everyone out there to join the launch on November 30th on Heritage Christian University campus at the Heritage Auditorium. They start at 9 a.m. and I invite everyone to participate. while you're out there, take charge of yourself and help someone by you. Just make it a task, or make it an aim or a goal to help one person, just one person, to be blessed in your community, and just help the society grow together. Thank you very much for having me today, and I'm happy that I've inspired a lot of people.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Gideon. Thank you indeed. God bless you, and God bless your mind. God bless your project. God bless your dreams, and may He bring the giant within you to impact not only your generations, but generations beyond. Africa needs you. Africa needs people and young people like you to make a difference. Our generation have disappointed and failed the continent, but with some people like you, we have hope that when we sleep, we are confident that when we wake up again, we will see a better Africa. Thank you so much for sharing your life with us. God bless you. All right. So, to everybody who joined us this evening, we want to thank you so much. Sarah, I want to thank you. Joy, thank you so much. And the team, Elizabeth, Presla, Hawa, Vivian, on the socials, and Charles and everybody, thank you so very much for being with us. And to all of you who have joined, please share the recording with your friends, especially with your young ones, and encourage them. God is able. We are reading The Richest Man in Babylon. This is the book of the month. Please read this book. It's not a big book. This book by George Carlson is what we are reading. Next week, we are going to come back and have a quick review of the book. On that note, I want to thank you so much. Please remember, Growth Journey is on. Register for the Growth Journey. We are going to start the next cohort. And Live to Lead, rebroadcast. We can come to your organization, to your church, and share the lessons of Live to Lead with you. So reach out to us, reach out to the team. We are here for you. God bless you. Have a good night.
I am winning on all fronts limitlessly.
I have made tremendous improvement at work through delegating and empowering teams.
We started with the law of intentionality, which specifically makes it clear that growth cannot just happen. You have to be intentional about your growth.
CTO Africa Leadership brings you the Grow Journey, a series of masterclasses based on John C. Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. In this 10-week virtual growth accelerator, you will acquire the skills to thrive and flourish as you evolve into a more impactful and fulfilled individual. You will master the art of personal and professional development as you craft and execute your customized growth plan. Limited seats available. Register now for the next cohort. Hey there. Join the next cohort of CTL Ghana's Growth Journey.
The next cohort is coming on. Get involved and your life will never